Oh, damn. Actually, sorry, guys. So for like this entire week, I had problems going live, and now it's actually the complete opposite. I went live earlier than I expected, and I need to go get a drink of water. So it's this time it's my screw up on actually going live, and I don't see any stats. So what the hell is going on? I think I'm live. Hell knows. Yeah, I'm live. All right. But I totally screwed that one up. Give me hang out for a minute, and normally I do all this stuff before I go live, like pull out the live chat, get a drink, like actually prepare. And that did not happen this time. Check my audio settings. That's fine. All right. Yeah, no, the news broke. Biden is our new president in the US. Biden is the US president. And well, I have no idea how this shit's gonna end, but it's not gonna be pretty. Okay, I got that situated. Let me go grab go get a drink or something, and I'll be right back. I guess I should be drinking alcohol, right? Maybe I'll do that. I think we all deserve a drink for this. Tone won 20,000. I don't know. So I'll be right back. All right. I got my glass. I got my ice. I got my Bitcoin ice cubes. It's not set to autofocus, so you can't see the Bitcoin, but there's a Bitcoin there. And I actually have a tequila bottle right next to me. All right, we're gonna do we're gonna have to drink away. I think the majority of the people watching are Trump supporters. Like the majority of America are Trump supporters, but ran into a little unexpected turbulence. And if you guys have seen my Twitter for the last 36 hours, you know I'm losing thousands of Twitter followers based on my views of US politics, but that's okay. We continue to remember, well, the media certainly doesn't think it's going to continue. The AP, this was, so this was the headline. Let me not dox what I was actually doing prior to this. I definitely don't want to dox my Instagram. Yeah, I do have Instagram. And if you guys want to follow me on Instagram, I don't really do much on Instagram. It's the same Instagram handle as my Twitter handle, is just Tone Vays. Because I have 200,000 Twitter followers, but I only have 2,000 Instagram followers. So there are scammers of me on Instagram with 10,000 Instagram followers. And it's actually very difficult for people, like most of the people that get scammed by a fake Tone Vays, they actually get scammed on Instagram because my Instagram following is so small. So it's very difficult to tell which is the real Tone Vays on Instagram and which is the fake one because of that. So I'm going to close my Instagram here. Okay. And close Google. And where's the AP article? All right, there it is. Well, it wasn't Yahoo. I got it through Yahoo, but anyway. All right, here we go. Screen share. What happened to your old hairstyle? I had to retire it. I don't have enough hair for my old hairstyle. I do need to shave though. Oh yeah. No. The Middle East wars are coming back. See, here's the thing. Like, people think Trump is so atrocious and he's so bad for human rights. And I challenge you to find any president in the last 50 years that has killed that or was responsible for killing less foreigners than Trump through international wars. And I would love to hear who you come up with. I mean, look, you can hate Trump as a person. And I think Bernoulli said it best in this chat. We're not hiring a babysitter for your kids. We're hiring someone to lead the country. Big difference. Big difference. I'm pretty sure war is coming back. Absolutely. Absolutely. As far as I'm concerned, this is another reason why I was a big Trump supporter. Trump is a businessman. Contrary to propaganda, businessmen don't really want war. Politicians always want war, in my experience. In my lifetime, anyway. Yeah, Biden supports war. Of course, Biden supports war. I'm sure Biden voted for in the 47 years Biden's been in Congress. I bet you there hasn't been a single war effort he did not support. I haven't fact checked that, but I will bet that there wasn't a single war effort that he objected to. Oh no, this is worse than the 2000 election. Now, I'm not given the excuses of the 2000 election. The 2000 election was also bad, and maybe Republicans are getting what they deserved. I just wish that the revenge of the 2000 election didn't happen to Trump, because Trump is not really a Republican. Trump is an independent. So it's unfortunate that the backlash of Republicans stealing the 2000 election ended up biting Trump. And Republicans are also kind of dumb here, because if the Republicans don't try to fight the election fraud and get Trump in for the next 4 years, then Trump is going to run again in 4 years, and he will probably win. Because 4 years from now, he will probably win that election. So if the Republicans actually want a Republican in office and not Trump, who they also hate, you may want Trump there for these 4 years, because otherwise no Republican is getting in for at least 8 years. Because if Trump doesn't win in 2024 and he's alive in 2028, guess who's going to be at the top of your Republican ticket in 2028? It's going to be Trump or one of his kids. Okay, so the only shot Republicans have at getting another warmongering, lifelong politician from their party in office is to actually let Trump finish out his second term. So Republicans are also idiots if they don't fight for Trump, which I don't believe that they actually will. I think Trump is the only one fighting for Trump. I don't think Republicans want Trump. Republicans want Biden. Bitcoin wins. Oh yeah, 100%. Bitcoin wins. I think foreign countries actually win too, because I think there'll be a brain drain. Look, I've never said it before. I've always made fun of people that said, oh, you're not going to leave the US. You're not going to leave the US. Where are you going to go? Oh, that has changed. That has changed. I mean, I remember a lot of the socialist leading people were like, if Trump wins the election, I'm leaving. If Bush wins the election, I'm leaving. None of them left. I'm going to Canada. which is even more, which is I guess is more socialist. But no, none of them are leaving. But this time, oh, and he wants to raise taxes on the rich. That's who's gonna leave. That's who's gonna leave. Oh yeah, no, a lot of people. Doug Polk is for Biden. Mike Novogratz is for Biden. Look, a lot of my friends are, Biden supporters. Look, and I'm okay with that. I have no problem with I have no problem with someone being a Biden supporter. I mean, I had Ronnie Moas on my show. Can you for the stream? Can you find like a bigger Democrat supporter that's in the crypto space than Ronnie? Probably not. But here it is. Here's the article. Biden wins 2020 presidential election. Here's live coverage. This is from the Associated Press called it. Yahoo picked it up. I just saw an interesting tweet on my Twitter feed. Hopefully it's still there. Hold on. Yeah, here it is. This is great. My Twitter feed from Brian Lockhart. I'm not sure if our paths have crossed, Brian, but yeah, he just tweeted it out. So thanks for that. So yeah, so that was a great tweet. So these are Biden like supporters, but remember, schools, gyms, and restaurants need to be closed to slow the spread by these people. These are the people that are causing your businesses to close. And I really like Brian's tweet. Thanks to lockdowns. Well, is it here? But hey, wait, hold on. Oh no, I think it was in the comments. I think it was right here somewhere. It was there was somebody had a good comment. These are the same people who said it was too dangerous to vote in person and they had to do mail voting. Right. These are the same people in general. So these are the people that, you can't, mail voting is needed because you can't spread COVID, and here they are. So, look, America is probably looking like a laughingstock to the entire world right now. Look, our opinions of Trump are actually irrelevant. What is relevant is a fair election. And for the US to talk about how it has the most democratic and the most fair system, and then have this kind of an election, like embarrassing, doesn't even start to describe it. It is actually, like, again, another tweet that I sent out. It is embarrassing to consider yourself an American right now. Absolutely embarrassing. Just like I underestimate the stupidity of people investing in shit coins, I underestimated the illegal lengths Democrats would go to steal the election. The Department of Justice just seized one. Well, that didn't just happen. That happened days ago. Yeah, I talked about that in the last video. Do you think the U.S. government will dump the coins to crash the market? No, that's silly. No, they're not doing that. They're going to sell the coins at auction, and it's not going to affect the price of Bitcoin. It's what they always do. It's their job. There are rules that the government somewhat occasionally follows, and it's going to be hard for them to not follow this one. All right, where are we here? I don't even know how many live. We got 700 viewers. So here's my Twitter, but yeah, I'm a pretty hated person on Twitter right now too. Well, we're drinking tequila to a Biden victory. Look, do I want Trump to do I want civil war in the US? No, of course not. Of course not. Do I want Trump to claim some kind of a dictatorial power and remain in office and you know, present an appearance that he wants people to literally take up arms? No, I don't. So what's the solution? I don't know. I don't know what the solution is. Tone, is the pullback over? Let's talk Bitcoin. You know what? Enough politics. Just glance at these websites. Well, they still haven't called the rest of the states. I think Pennsylvania is too close to call. 2% left. Biden is only up by less than 0.5%. So I don't see how they can call Pennsylvania for Biden. The ballots are being challenged in Milwaukee and Michigan. They called Nevada for Biden. 6% to go. Biden is up by 2%. Those votes should be recounted. Arizona hasn't been officially called yet. And Georgia is almost identical. And I know it's less than 2% left, but they're 0.15% apart. So I don't understand how they can call the election for Biden when even looking at this page, it's not over yet. Mathematically, Trump is still alive on the ballots. So on counting. So I don't understand how they can announce a president, but hey, you know, it's whatever. Maybe they're using predicted. Maybe that's what they're using to announce the winner. They're using the power of the people. They're using the prediction markets. No, they're not projecting a winner. Biden wins 2020 presidential election. Am I not reading this correctly? This is not projecting a winner. This doesn't say Biden is projected to win the 2020 presidential election. This literally says Biden wins 2020. I mean, look, English is not my first language. I could be totally misreading this headline. But when it says in Yahoo, Biden wins 2020, how else do you expect me to read that sentence? Let's go to Bitcoin. All right, Bitcoin is pulling back. I might have looked stupid on Friday that I sold my Bitcoin position on Thursday. I don't look as stupid today. Today, I'm looking a little bit smarter. And the big question is, this is the daily chart. The big question is the pullback over? This is the daily chart. And I'm looking at the daily chart, and there's nothing in the daily chart that tells me that the pullback is over. The weekly chart, remember what I said yesterday, and articles were already written about it. If this week closes below 15,000, I am bullish going into next week. We have about 24 hours to go. About 24 hours to go. And if we close below 15,000 in the next 24 to 27 hours, I will be bearish going into next week, at least in the beginning of the week. Now, this is just one bad day. Remember, yesterday we had a beautiful textbook reversal candle, and all these red arrows eventually caught up. I was looking to sell on this day, but I did not because it wasn't a crazy day, up or down. But I did sell my Bitcoin position above $15,000 a coin on GBTC in my retirement funds. And right now, we are sitting below my exit point. Will I get to buy my Bitcoin back in my retirement account at a lower price than what I sold? I have absolutely no idea. If we open on Monday about 15,300, which is about where I sold, I will not be able to buy them back cheaper, especially if we keep going up. Tone, what tequila are you drinking? So this is, I still have multiple bottles of this. So this is the Partida Reposado. I don't normally, oh wait, hold on. I like this question. I'm sorry, guys. We're going to cut screen share because there's two things I like to talk about. Well, lately it feels like I like to talk about Trump and the election and COVID more than Bitcoin. But on a normal week, not COVID, not election week, there's only two things I like talking about more than Bitcoin. One is nutrition and two is tequila, which could be one and the same on some occasions. But in general, tequila and nutrition is the one thing that will distract me from talking about Bitcoin. So here's the bottle, and it's kind of see-through right now. It's the Partida Reposado. However, it's not a regular Reposado. And this is why anytime I talk about this tequila, I have to put an asterisk there. So a Partida Reposado usually costs maybe $40 a bottle, maybe $35. A Partida Añejo, which is extra aged, costs about $50 a bottle. This particular Reposado actually costs about $55 a bottle. It's more expensive than even the more aged version of this same tequila because it happens to be like a special whiskey barrel that it was aged in. So, and it's really hard to find this particular bottle, which is why I have several of these because once the liquor store bought an entire barrel, which is 300 bottles. Obviously, I can't afford 300 bottles of tequila, nor would I ever be able to drink that much. But for as long, anytime I drive past the store, which is not close anywhere near me, and I happen to walk in there and they still have one of these because no one knows how valuable these are and how good they taste. So they always have these because like, why would I buy such an expensive Reposado when the same company has an Añejo that is cheaper? But this is an incredible tequila. But you need this specific whiskey barrel that is very rare that they age it in. So it's anyway, when you're a tequila drinker, it's kind of like a whiskey drinker. I'm not a whiskey drinker, so I can't tell, a good whiskey from a bad whiskey. To me, they're just all kind of bad because I don't like the taste of whiskey. But when it comes to tequilas, it's different. Okay. Now we can go back to the charts. So here's the daily chart. We pulled back a lot. Now notice that the body of this candle is greater than the shadow under the candle. Drinking to get over the pain of Trump losing. It helps. Certainly helps. I mean, it just says single barrel reserve. It's just like so Reposado means that it was aged up to 9 months, or is it up to a year? I think it's up to 9 months. Up to 9 months or a year is a Reposado. But it also matters where it's aged. And this particular Reposado is aged in a very good barrel. That's all. So, and it doesn't actually say like the barrel. It just does like special reserve barrel. It's gonna be hard to find because they don't come. They're not around often. And once I run out of these tequilas, I'm gonna go back to my añejos and extra añejos. So, but I love special barrel reposados. Don Julio does this as well. Don Julio occasionally has a bottle from a whiskey barrel of tequila, and that's excellent. All right, enough tequila talk, guys. Though I can't talk about it all day. Oh, let me tell my Q&A people that we're live. Okay. Anyway, so we're looking at the daily candle. As long as the body of this daily candle is bigger than the shadow below the body, I am bearish going into the next candle. The same thing applies for the weekly, but in reverse. As long as the body is less than the shadow, and right now the body is about less than the shadow, I am bearish going into the next candle. So if the price of Bitcoin in 2 hours closes below 14,800, I will be bearish going into tomorrow. And if this weekly candle tomorrow closes below this number, I will be bearish going into next week. And here we are. I adjusted this triangle. I tweeted it out. This is a 4-hour chart. Notice the funding rate. Notice how the funding rate is spiking to the upside as we are dropping. This is huge for the bears. This is an absolute bear signal right now, but it is the 4-hour chart. What if we look at the funding rate on the daily chart? Well, look at the daily chart. I exited prematurely. I exited 2 candles ago before the funding rate was screaming, get out of the market. And I felt very weird exiting because it felt like the funding rate was inaccurate. And now we are dropping and the funding rate is spiking. And I was able to use my intuition a little bit, and I was able to get out at a very comfortable price. So yes, a lot of trading is TA, but some part of trading is still mental. It is still intuitive. Not everything can be a robot, like you're trading a bot, like you are a bot. So I felt that on Thursday was the right time to exit. Had I been a little more patient, I obviously could have exited a little bit higher on Friday, but I didn't want to risk it. I took my exit on Thursday, and now I'm looking to buy the dip. So the $1 million question is, when is the dip? Well, I'm kind of liking this 4-hour funding rate, and I will wait for the 4-hour funding rate to flip in favor of the bulls. Now, this triangle on the 4-hour scale, I had this triangle on the 1-hour scale the last time I did a video, but I have now moved this back to the 4-hour scale. And this triangle met its target very, very nicely. We then fell more. We have now rebounded. We are probably rebounding on the news that there is certainty as to who won the election. But we know that there isn't as much certainty as they think it is. Look, I have no idea who's going to be president on January 3rd or 10th or whenever they inaugurate. I don't know who's going to be president. At this point, I don't really care who's going to be president. But here's what I care about. I no longer trust the U.S. election process. I don't. Going into the last, look, the Bush election was bad, but the Bush election was just one state being stupid, not even malicious. It was, I don't believe, look, how do I explain this? We're going back to the election. I'm sorry, guys. There was a big difference between the election bullshit of 2000, between George W. Bush and Al Gore, and the current election. Do I think the Republicans cheated to get Bush in office? The answer is yes, but they cheated after the fact. They did not, in my opinion. I'm trying to be as unbiased as possible because I hate Bush. I think Bush was one of the worst presidents in my voting, well, in my lifetime. There wasn't that many presidents in my lifetime. We're talking Clinton, Bush, part 2. I guess Bush part 1 as well. Bush part 1, Clinton, Bush part 2, Obama, and Trump. So these are the presidents in my lifetime. And I think the worst of them all, I mean, it's a toss-up between Obama and Bush Bush Jr., but I have to give it to Bush Jr. Like Bush Jr., George W. Bush, I think is still the worst president of my lifetime. So I am not in favor of the Republicans and George W. Bush by any means. Having said that, do I think that the Republicans cheated to get Bush in office instead of Al Gore? Yes. Did they premeditate the cheating to get Bush in? The answer is no. Okay, the answer is no. So, and therefore, like the Republicans cheated after there was a controversy of who won Florida. I was young, but that's how I remember it. And that's how it pretty much happened. They didn't premeditatively cheat to get Bush in office. But that's not what happened here. That is not what happened here. And I have absolutely no more respect for the American election process. And when you lose confidence in the democracy of your country, that is bad. That is very, very bad. Hey, actually, that's a great statement there, Tracid. I am literally going to paste your statement to Max and Stacy right now. One second, guys. Sorry about the dead air. All right. Maybe Max will have me on the show and we'll talk about the election. So this is so different than what happened in 2000. This was clearly premeditated to steal the election. At least the 2000 wasn't premeditated. They took every advantage they could after there was an accidental controversy. And yes, I do think that Gore should have been president in 2000. And I probably would have been happier. Probably. I don't know how he would have done. No, thank you. Shodan Gruber. I am one of the few people that have been both bull and bear multiple times. I started on YouTube in the bull market of 2016-17. Wait, I'm sorry. That's when I started on YouTube. I started writing articles in the 2014 bear market, and I was a bear. I was doing YouTube in the 2016-17 bull market, and I was a bull. I then became popular at the top of the market. And then I became a hated person for being a bear for 2.5 years, and I was right. And now I'm a bull again. So I am one of the few people that have been consistently a bull and a bear multiple times throughout Bitcoin's life. Please don't get me started on climate change and global warming, Mr. Mick, because if Al Gore did take his delusion of climate change to the extreme levels, I could be sitting here talking about how Al Gore was the worst president of my lifetime. So let's not go into the whole climate change debate, please. Tone, One City Landmark Coloring Book Episode Part 2. I gotta get another coloring book. It's not even for me, actually. I'll talk to our relative. That was fun. What was the statement that I liked? Oh, I guess someone wanted me to go on Max Kaiser to talk about the election. Would you prefer to have Trump another 4 years? Look, there's only one person I would, out of all the people that I ever had a chance, well, let's not talk about out of all the people that Americans have ever had a chance to vote for president, I would have Trump as number 3, behind Gary Johnson, who is behind Ron Paul. So my hierarchy in the last, let's say, 30 years of the best presidents America could have had, here's the hierarchy. Ron Paul 1, Gary Johnson 2, actually had a chance to win. Well, Gary Johnson didn't. He got 4% of the popular vote, which is still more than any other independent probably gotten in forever. Here are the people I wanted to see president in that order. Ron Paul, Gary Johnson, and number 3, Donald Trump. I thought Donald Trump was a good president, as much as and I'm about to lose 1,000 YouTube subscribers. Okay, so here's a question. Would you prefer to have Trump for another 4 years or COVID to be over with the next 6 months? Which is actually what I said. I said COVID would end in 6 months, and that if the Democrats win. I personally would rather have Trump and deal with the COVID disaster for another 4 years. I would rather have Trump because Trump doesn't want to take away your rights. He doesn't want to take away your constitutional rights. He doesn't want to. And I feel that in his second term, he would be able to do something a little more about it. So I think that I would rather have Trump to defend the US Constitution against COVID and fighting the COVID insanity for the next 4 years than have COVID end in 6 months and losing constitutional rights with Democrats in office. Oh, hold on. Stacy replied. All right. So they already have like a lot of people scheduled. They've interviewed a bunch of people already. So they're kind of all set for like episodes for the next few weeks. But we'll find out. One second, let me just reply to her. One second, guys. All right. So I'll see if I can get a slot on Max Kaiser over in the next month sometime. Thanks for the heads up, guys. Oh, I didn't vote for Bush either. I've never voted for Bush. I voted, never voted for Bush. Man, my family was so pissed at me when I voted for Obama. Wow. I only voted for him the first time. I knew better the second time. All right. Are we on screen share or not? We're not. So here we are on the 4-hour chart. This candle looks good now, but I don't think this is the bottom. Can it be the bottom? Yes, but I don't think it is, because there's a couple of reasons why I don't think it is. I like pullbacks, and I find it challenging to admit, like, this is my most conservative place for a pullback. If we don't touch this line, it creates a much more scarier scenario if we go to 17,000 now. At the least, I want to see us touch this line. It would be better if we touched this line right here. This would be better because, first of all, this is very close to the support line from the MRI. And if you say, who cares about the MRI support line? Well, whoever bought right here at $13,246, right as it bounced off the MRI support line, did very, very well. So the MRI support line matters. And I would love to see the price at the least come down to the MRI support line at $13,900. We're getting political again. What did Obama do the first time to turn you off? Well, the reason why I voted for Obama is because I believed in his bullshit that he was going to end the NSA spying that Snowden exposed. And if you Google one of my favorite videos, hold on. You can Google this yourself. I'm Googling it now on a different monitor. It's called President Obama Debates Candidate Obama on NSA spying. It's probably one of my favorite videos of all time, assuming YouTube still has it on. Let me see. Here. It's not long. It's only 2 minutes, and I'll speed it up for you guys. I see your question, Peter. I'm going to grab that question, and I'm going to answer you very soon. So let me turn on the audio, I hope. And I'm going to speed this up a little bit and see what happens. And I have no audio. Okay, give me a second. How do I should have audio, but I don't have audio, and that sucks. Hold on. I hate when that happens. I still don't have audio. Crap. Will this give me audio? No. How about this? Okay, so I'm sorry, guys. I can't get the audio, but you can see the video. And if you just watch this video, it's basically Obama debating himself. When he was the candidate, he's talking about how spying on American citizens needs to end and how bad it is. And when he's president, he's talking about how much we need spying on American citizens. And that is what basically it's spying on American citizens versus going to war in Iraq for no reason. I don't know which is worse. I honestly don't know which is worse. I'm leaning towards going to war in Iraq for no reason being worse because more innocent people were killed by going to war in Iraq, which is why Bush wins the Vays Award for the worst president in my lifetime. But Obama is a close second by running on a platform to end NSA spying while increasing NSA spying as a president. So yes, they're two of the worst presidents in my lifetime. I've tried most of tequilas that are readily available. So yes, I've definitely tried Fortaleza. Anyway, just Google it. There's many videos like this. You can say one thing. Here's what you can't say about Trump. Trump did not say something in the campaign and then did the complete opposite of what he promised to do. That's the one thing Trump did not do. He did not do the opposite of his campaign promises. Whoa, I gotta address this comment. NSA spying is what makes him the second worst. That seems strange as an issue to care about that much. Oh boy. Oh God. Where do I begin? Do you understand that the entire US Revolution was basically because the British were spying on everything the Americans were doing? Like one of the main reasons, like the entire American Revolution, like I don't know how they were able to actually accomplish the American Revolution because the British were spying on everything. The entire concept of the Fourth Amendment is because of the spying that the British did. The concept of the Fourth Amendment in America, it doesn't exist in almost any other nation in the world. Look, other nations have free speech. Other nations have the right to bear arms. I'm not even an American. Russian. I'm Russian, and I apparently know the Constitution. Okay, somehow. Okay, somehow I know the Constitution. Okay, and yes, the right to free, the First Amendment, the right to speech is really important. The Second Amendment is arms, very important. The Third Amendment has to do with the government. It has to do with voting, senators, the government itself. But the Fourth Amendment, after that, the Fourth Amendment, the whole Fourth Amendment is against government spying on its own citizens. That's literally what the Fourth Amendment of the Constitution is. So the Fourth Amendment is more important than the Fifth Amendment, which is your right not to incriminate yourself. But the Fourth Amendment is above that. And the Fourth Amendment is literally against spying, which is what they're doing. Unless I'm wrong about the order of the amendments. I could be. Actually, I should probably Google it. Or it could be part of the Fifth Amendment. 1 second. Oh, I'm sorry, guys. I did make a mistake. Fourth Amendment also has to do with voting. So that means is it part of the Fifth Amendment? Like that your diary can't be searched. Like the search and seizure is part of the Constitution. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm looking at Article 1. Hold on. I can swear I had the Fourth Amendment correct. I have to Google it. I don't want to make a mistake. I'm Googling on a different monitor. I want to get it right. I don't want to be wrong. I'm literally going the Fourth Amendment. I thought the Fourth Amendment was against search and seizure. The Constitution, through the Fourth Amendment, protects people from unreasonable search and seizure. I was right. The Fourth Amendment, however, is not a guarantee against all searches and seizures, but only that are deemed unreasonable under the law. They're breaking that. That's for damn sure. So one of the parts of the Fourth Amendment, now we're going to get into the U.S. Constitution here. Again, this is a non-American telling you this. The Fourth Amendment is insanely important. It's insanely important. The Fourth Amendment, one of the parts of the Fourth Amendment, if you actually dig into the Fourth Amendment, it protects your private diary, your private written statements. That's what a diary was in 1700s when this document was put together, from being used against you for search and seizure. In today's modern age, that diary is literally your cell phone. That is your email. That is your digital communication. What the Fourth Amendment was meant to protect is that your private written thoughts with a pen and paper, because they didn't have cell phones back then. They didn't have internet back then. They didn't have computers back then. The Fourth Amendment protects your written private statements. The Fourth Amendment, more important than incriminating yourself, which is the Fifth Amendment that they wrote. And Obama ran on that platform to defend the Fourth Amendment, and he did the complete opposite. So yes, Obama is right up there with the worst presidents of my lifetime for expanding the NSA program after Snowden blew that program wide open. Well, you guys know my Bitcoin opinion. Correct. If you put them online, if you put them in the public domain, they should not be protected. But if they are in your private domain, then they should be protected. Meanwhile, we have the government trying to ban encryption. trying to prevent you from making your private statements private. See the difference? I agree with you. If you put your thoughts on Facebook, they could be used against you in court. But if you don't, they should be protected under the Fourth Amendment. People really underestimate how important that Fourth Amendment is. Fifth one is also really important. The ability not to incriminate yourself is also important. What about Snapchat? Is it public or is it private? If I'm sending a message to a friend, that message has the right to stay between me and my friend. That the government should not have the right to read that message. That's what the Fourth Amendment was meant to protect. And no one in today's politics is interested in protecting your Fourth Amendment. Bitcoin should fall under the Fourth Amendment. It is digital data. No one talks about this shit. Bitcoin should be protected in America under the Fourth Amendment. It is speech, it is digital data, no different than a text message. It just happens to be a text message that is valuable. I don't know how Snapchat works. I'm too old for Snapchat. I'm looking at your live chat now, guys. Look here, still looking at your live chat, seeing if there's anything interesting there. If there is a case in the law to try to protect Bitcoin transactions under the Fourth Amendment, of course they're going to lose. I mean, look, the all attempts to protect the Fourth Amendment have lost. All of them. That's why the government can spy on everything you do, because no one ever defends the Fourth Amendment. People really underestimate the Fourth Amendment of the US Constitution. It is probably one of the most important pieces of Constitution any country should adapt, and none of them want to. Even the US doesn't want it. Trust me, if there was one amendment that both Democrats and Republicans want to eliminate, it's the Fourth. That's the one amendment that they want to eliminate the most. Democrats want to get rid of the second. Republicans are okay with the second. Everyone is iffy about the first. The third is not an issue. The government isn't changing anytime soon. The fifth is not really a problem, but it's the fourth. I mean, obviously, nobody wants to get rid of the amendments that no one wants to take away women's right to vote. Nobody wants to, take away the amendment to bring slavery back. No one's interested in those. But the one amendment, every single politician wants to eliminate in America is the Fourth Amendment. That's the one that gives you some kind of privacy. And that's the amendment that has been in the biggest jeopardy since the digital age. Very good question from the rookie. Can you explain why Americans aren't worried about COVID like here in the EU? We fear that hospitals get overpopulated and people can't get the help they need. You're not going to like my answer. You're really not going to like my answer. The reason why Americans aren't as worried about COVID is because Europeans have lived under socialism a lot longer. And they are in this really bad timeline phase where they are unreasonably trusty of their government. The US is not there yet. So the Europeans, and you guys aren't going to like this. So Europeans are too trusty of their government. The US will get there. The US citizens will get there. Now, if you look at former Soviet republics like Russia, Russia is on the other side of that. See, Russia went through the phase of believing everything that the government says. That was 20, 30 years ago. You talk to a typical Russian, they don't trust their politicians at all. You talk to a typical American, we're right at that age in a timeline where as the Democrats, as Californians spread to Nevada and Arizona and Colorado and Texas, where the US is going to the point where Europe was maybe a decade or 2 decades ago. So, but Europe is at the peak of max trust in their government. So when the government of Europe says to lock down because the hospitals are overwhelmed, Europeans believe, on average, this doesn't apply to every single person, but as a bell curve, the reason why the Europeans are way more scared of COVID is because they believe their government that they need to be more scared of COVID because they're ahead on that curve. And Russia is on the opposite side of that curve. I hope that made sense. Now, eventually, Europe will go over that curve, and they will be where the Russians are, having no trust in their government. Australia is going over that curve, by the way. People in Australia are starting to get really fed up from what I'm seeing. So Australia is ahead of Europe, like in that transition. I'm not going to talk about my personal residency, passports. I'm not going to be talking about that because it'll get me into a lot of trouble. So I may or may not be an American. I may or may not have voted for Obama or Biden or Bush. I have no idea where Turkey is on the spectrum. I'd have to think about it some more. Germany is probably the worst. No offense to Germans. And it's really not your fault. That's because Germans are still sorry for what happened in World War II. I don't blame them. It was their grandparents. I think Germans are a little too nice. I mean, I don't. If I when I meet Germans, when I'm in Germany, like, and I'm well, let's not talk about my religion or my ancestry. Look, I don't blame anyone for the actions of their grandparents. Okay, I don't. But when I generally interact with Germans, they are very honest and they are very nice. And not that I like honest people and I like nice people because I'm an honest person and I think I'm a nice person in person. But I think the overwhelming mentality of Germans is that they still feel bad about what happened in World War II, even though none of them actually did anything because they weren't born. And that makes them very, very passive when it comes to these kinds of issues. But because they're so passive, there's going to be this bundled up rage. And therefore, Germany might be one of the first to go over the hump if of government trust because of that. I hope I didn't offend anyone. Been doing that a lot lately. So Germany might actually like that, and that's the thing, right? Because of that, I think Germany might be the first one to say it's time to stop trusting the government. Look, I'm not talking about the Russian government. I'm talking about the Russian people. The Russian people don't trust government. And I mean, is that wrong? Am I having a wrong assessment? I'm not talking about Russian politicians. I'm talking about Russian people, whether they live in Russia or outside of Russia. The Russian people are less trusty of government than Americans and Europeans. It is to me, it's a fact. You can disagree with that, but that's just a fact. I mean, this is what happens when you have a communist regime for 70 years. Your next generation or an eventual generation will be a lot less trusty of the government. I'm not here to talk about whether the Russian government is or isn't corrupt. Like, that's not what I'm talking about. Let me tell you who's least trusty of their government: Venezuelans. Right now, like, if you're a wealthy country, if there are people that you want in your country, if you can find smart Venezuelans, you want them. That's who you want in your country. If you're gonna pick selective immigrants to come to your country, you want the smartest Venezuelans you can find. Because they will be the most capitalistic people that will work their ass off and will be happy to get out of there. Yeah, we got a lot of spam in the live chat. Look, I hope I didn't offend anyone in Germany. I like Germany. I like going to Germany. I'll be back in Germany, hopefully, when you guys allow people again one day, maybe by 2024. You guys are locking down hard. I think that's a mistake, but that's just my opinion. All right. Hey guys, grab this other tipped question. All right, let me go through some of these. 10,000 dead people voted just in one county. I'm not surprised. Why would I be surprised? Okay, Peter from Russia. Thank you for your donation in rubles. Hello, Tone. Can you have a deflation scenario without printing money in some months and S&P and BTC will drop? They're independent events. So S&P 500 and Bitcoin, they don't depend on inflation or deflation on short-term levels at all. So the S&P 500, just like Bitcoin, moves on speculation. So whether there is, if you're looking for a drop in the near future because of inflation or deflation, it's not going to happen. You can have a drop in it with inflation. You can have a drop with deflation. You could also have a rise with inflation. You could also have a rise with deflation, because it's the speculation on whether you think you will make money by putting money in the S&P or Bitcoin that drives asset prices. It's not the printing of money. On a big scale, on a 10-year time frame, yes, it matters. The more money the government prints over 10 years, the more the asset prices will rise. And if the government stops printing money for the next 10 years, which will never happen, it is it's more likely that assets will fall in price because there's no new money coming in. But we are talking long-term scales. On a short-term scale, like a year or less, it is irrelevant whether the government is or isn't printing money, because it's the fear and greed and speculation that drives prices. Well, looks like my moderators are busy. I don't care about the CME gap, guys. I always say that every time. Look, I wish I was around to see Reagan, because Reagan wasn't a politician either. So by default, I think I would have liked Reagan as a president as much as I liked Trump as a president, with the number one qualification: he wasn't a politician. But I could only read about Reagan in the history books. I did not experience Reaganomics. I actually don't even know if he was president for 4 years or 8. I'm assuming 8, but I'm not sure. I have no idea, because that was before my time of paying attention to presidents and governments. But I will say this: I had a professor at my university when I was studying financial engineering, and the class was called Financial Economics. It was a PhD level economics course. It was the first economics course I ever taken. And my professor was a graduate student, or a PhD student, or he had just gotten his PhD, I don't know. during the Carter administration. And he was actually like probably like a PhD grad student for an economic advisor for President Carter. And he would be in the room with President Carter when he was, in his early 20s. And they would advise President Carter on economics, basically. And he said Carter was basically a genius. Look, Carter has done, in my learning of US history, Carter wasn't a very good president. But this economics professor that I had, he said Carter was a genius. Like, they would hand him 10-page economic reports. He would read them in less than 30 minutes, the whole report. And he would able to knew everything in that report. Like, the guy had almost a photographic memory. Like, the guy was an absolute genius. No matter how much of an advanced economics report they would hand him, the guy would read it, fully understand it, advanced math, doesn't matter, knew everything. He said when Reagan came in, they thought that he was like senile. And again, it's what a professor was telling me. So here's a little history lesson. And they said, instead of literally handing Reagan these advanced economic reports for him to read through and be completely aware of what's going on, the things that we're doing with Reagan was basically pretending to be other world leaders in a room doing role play. And he basically said Reagan would barely remember which guy was which. So he's like, hey, let's put, I think Nelson Mandela was, at that time, a leader of South Africa. Don't hold me to that. But they would put, okay, so this guy's the leader of South Africa. His name is this. And this guy is this is Margaret Thatcher, the leader of the UK, Prime Minister of the UK. And this is so-and-so, and this guy is from France. So here are 6 people in the room. Here are their names. Here are their countries. And then Reagan would go and shake hands and say things. He'd walk up to the wrong guy, call him by the wrong name. So these were the stories that I heard as a graduate student in economics as to the difference between Carter and Reagan. Now, if you look at the history of who was the better president, I would say Reagan, even though he couldn't even tell one guy from another versus the other guy being a genius and a photographic memory. So being smart doesn't necessarily correlate to being a good president. But at the same time, we also had George W. Bush who may have been smart, but the perception is that he wasn't. And I think he was a very bad president. Well, that's the thing. As long as you have the right advisors, you'll be fine. Who is going to be the eventual blockchain advisor for the Biden administration? Is it going to be someone like Jimmy Song? Or is it going to be someone like, I don't know, Craig Wright? Who's going to be the blockchain advisor for Joe Biden? I could have named other people, for the role of Biden's future blockchain advisor. All right. Questions? I mean, I've heard Gary Gensler a couple of times at the Senate hearings. I kind of like him. So if he is going to be, if he is going to be in some kind of a cabinet for Biden, I think that's a good thing. But like, don't hold me to that statement. I think Taproot would do great. It would increase Bitcoin's privacy. XMR is being banned because XMR is bannable. Nobody uses XMR. Yeah, I could have said Roger Ver. I could have said Richard Hart. I could have said a lot of names there. You know, look, I'm happy to provide my list of the top 25 people who I would love to see as the president's blockchain advisor. And I guarantee you, none of my 25 people would ever get that job. Tone, would you pull out 100K from your 401k if you have 500K? Well, why would you pull out money from your 401k? Unless you're over 65 years old. That's the question you want to ask. I don't see the markets crashing. I don't. Okay, so look, I'm saying on the one side, you can have Jimmy Song as your blockchain advisor. And on the other side, you can have Craig Wright or Roger Ver or Richard Hart. So I don't know who's going to be Biden's blockchain advisor, because the future of what Bitcoin means to the government is different based on who the advisor is. Is Richard Hart a scammer? Why is that even a question? All right, fine. 59 and a half, 65. What's the big difference? They're not going to go after 401ks. Democrats have retirement accounts too. Democrats don't have any guns, so more like they're going to go after guns way before they go after 401k, because they have those. I don't even care if I get banned. All right, questions. How do you deal with jet lag and the tequila hangover? So tequila doesn't really give you a hangover. It's the best part about tequila. You don't get hangovers, though I probably should have eaten something in the last 24 hours before drinking. How do I deal with jet lag? I mentally enter the time zone of where I'm traveling to the day before I get there. That's a start. So there's two ways to get over jet lag. One, you don't eat on travel days. Try not to eat until after you wake up. Like, don't eat your entire travel day until the following morning at your destination. That's one. Second is sunlight. When you sunlight is probably the most important part of adjusting to jet lag. So you don't want to close the blinds. You don't want to sleep in. You want to be up with the sun at your destination, and you want to try to go to bed with the sun at your destination. And to make that transition easier, you want to adjust into your new time zone before you land in your new time zone. And you have an entire day before in your own house or in your previous house, and you have the flight itself. So if I know I'm flying from US to Hong Kong, and there's a 12-hour time difference, and I'm on the flight, and it's 1 o'clock in the morning or 2 o'clock in the morning New York time, but it's 2 o'clock in the afternoon in Hong Kong, and I'm tired as hell and I want to go to sleep, I try to find the most interesting movie, or I start, I try not to bother people next to me, but I try to find a way to stay awake. So I try to make my 10 to 12-hour flights be the adjustment period. So I'm watching movies throughout the night, New York night, instead of like Hong Kong night. You know what I mean? So that if I land in Hong Kong and it's daylight and I haven't slept for 24, if I land in Hong Kong and it's nighttime when I land and I haven't slept for 24 hours, I immediately go to my hotel and pass out. And then I also try not to eat while I'm doing that. And then you adjust immediately quickly. It's amazing how when you know what you're doing, I can go from New York to Hong Kong and be on the Hong Kong time zone within the next day. I have no jet lag. So those three things. Okay, so where were we? Look, I don't know if I have comments on what is the proper amount to tax someone's labor. I have no idea. Ideally, it's zero. Look, I believe that, do you really want me to go off on taxes? I don't know if I can keep this short. I think the federal tax should be zero. States can choose their own taxes. I think the only tax that should exist is a consumption tax. The more you consume, the more luxurious items you buy, the more tax you pay for those luxuries. If you're a person that's just working and living modestly and not buying Lambos, if you're buying a cheap car and you're living in a cheap apartment, I think you should live almost tax-free. I think tax should be consumption-based. The more you consume, the more taxes you pay. And since the federal government never spends within its means and they print money anyway, what's the point of wasting money collecting taxes? You might as well just print the money to run your government and add more money to circulation. That's just the short of it. Obviously, it's more complicated than that. Geez, my live chat is really being spammy, huh? It's just straight spam. Right. Capital gains and investment taxes. I think that's a slightly more delicate situation. But your hard labor should not be taxed. Your labor should not be taxed. It's debatable if your brain should or shouldn't be taxed, because investing is your brain. So anyone who's a good investor, you're basically taxing their knowledge. So I don't want to tax a person's labor. I don't want to tax a person's knowledge either. But I can see an argument as to why there should be a little bit of a tax on investing. I can see it, but I think that requires more thinking and a bigger discussion. Wow, should I just end the stream? I mean, the spammers really took over. I think I need to bring back, see, I don't think I can put in, maybe I can. Hold on. I just put slow mode on. Maybe that'll help. 60-second slow mode. Let's see if that helps. The spam was getting out of control. The MRI videos are in the same playlist as the videos for the TI. So if you had access to that, you should have access to that playlist of TI educational videos, and just go back to that playlist and the MRI videos there. Man, people really get upset when we have, look, there's more to life than Bitcoin. I know everyone here wants me to talk about Bitcoin. I don't know what else you want me to say about Bitcoin. I already said that I think this pullback would be bigger, and I think it's going to go down to at least 3.9. Unless I see the price of Bitcoin rise above 15,600, I'm not going to be bullish short term, but I could be bullish at 3.9. Is it possible to be doing an ascending wedge? I don't do wedges. I don't care about wedges. So that's the one thing. I don't trade wedges. I don't know what it's doing. Wedges are not my thing. Thank you, Johnny. Johnny 5, thank you. Do I think Trump still has a chance at presidency by challenging the results in court? He has a chance. It's not a very good chance, but he has a chance. I give Trump a 25% chance to still be president next year. 25% aren't great odds. Zachary, I don't see a super chat. Hey guys, if Zachary sends a question, or is that the question? Views on CCL and the cruise industry. Cruise industry, I think, is fucked. No one, the fear of COVID is still with us. Still there. Not going anywhere. Oh, Bcash is also fucked. CCL, what is that? Carnival? I'm surprised it's doing so well. I really am. Oh, it's a 10-minute chart. I'm surprised it's doing this well. I really am. It doesn't look good. It's near the lows of 6-month consolidation. Doesn't look good. Well, I wouldn't bet on 25% odds. I like my odds to be above 50% before I make a bet. If Barr would come in and do his job. Yeah, yeah. Keep praying. Keep praying. Yeah, no, the cannabis industry should do well under a democratic regime. All right, more questions. Eric writes, grabbed some profit on the MRI top. Thoughts on Bitcoin and markets with lockdown talks around the world starting to pick up, USA having no stimulus. Well, that's the thing. First of all, USA is going to have a stimulus. And that stimulus is going to be huge if the Democrats win. And then within 6 months, the Democrats will open the economy up completely. The media will stop talking about COVID, and the giant stimulus checks that the Democrats are going to print will now be used to start the economy back up because the businesses will finally get a chance to open because the COVID hysteria is going to go away. So I take the opposite of your statement. How would you estimate the dangers of CDBC when it allows them to control all the on and off ramps? What is CDBC? Can someone tell me what CDBC is? To Bitcoin, and hence also whether miners can cash out and pay their energy. Right. So I don't know. I'm still waiting for someone to tell me what CDBC is. Central bank digital currency. Oh, okay, fine. Got it. Okay, let me read it again. How would you estimate the dangers? No, there's no danger of the central bank digital currency. Every central bank already has a digital currency. The US dollar is a central bank digital currency. 99% of all dollars are a central bank digital currency. Oh yeah, because the person wrote CDBC, which is what confused me. If it was CBDC, I would have probably figured it out myself. No, every central bank has a digital currency. So there's no danger to it. It's already there. Hey guys, I got nothing more to say. I ranted enough. Eventually, we're only going to talk markets, but at the moment, the markets are tied to the political environment, and the US political environment matters around the world. Hey, Freddie, DM me. I don't think the cruise lines are going to go to any highs anytime soon. I mean, the COVID fear is my parents love cruises. They love cruises. My parents, they're retired. They go on 30-day cruises. And I'm telling them not to do a cruise, possibly ever again. And they would go on at least 2 of these 30-day cruises a year for vacation. And being on a cruise is a lot more dangerous. I don't believe COVID is a hoax. I believe COVID is real. I believe that COVID can be deadly if you are A, not in good health, and B, of a dangerous age. So if you are above the age of 70 and not in the best of health while being above the age of 70, you need to be very, very careful as to how you will live the rest of your life because of COVID. However, if you are the age of 25 and healthy, you should not be locked down in your apartment to, and I'm going to be a dick here, to save people that don't have too many years left anyway, because you are ruining your 25 years of life to extend another person's life by 3 months. And that is unfair to the young and the healthy. It is grossly unfair. I know people that have passed from COVID. But I know more people whose lives are destroyed for the next 50 years because of COVID. Let's see what the comments say about my hate for human life, apparently. What do you think of the Fed lowering the reserve requirement from 10% to 0? I don't think it matters at all. I hope people agree with my view because it's the most logical view. I'm not even talking about people losing their savings in their business. I'm talking about people in depression, people committing suicides. People are literally losing their lives because they're being oppressed. You can make money again. You can start another business, but you can't do those things if you're mentally fucked up because of the lockdowns. Look, I've always been thinking this, but it's kind of hard to say it publicly. It's challenging. I can get my YouTube channel banned for saying something like that. God forbid you destroy 50 years of a productive person's life to extend a 95-year-old's life by 6 months. You know, God forbid you say that. You can get your channel banned. Tone, where's Phil? I don't know. If he wants to come on, he knows how to reach me. He's always welcome. Any idea what will happen to the markets when the COVID vaccine comes out? They'll already be rebounding. Markets are forward looking. No one buys a stock on its next week's future. People buy stocks on a long-term outlook. The market will be up way before the vaccine comes out because they will anticipate the vaccine coming out 6 months prior to the vaccine. Like, how many people have not seen a doctor in over a year? Like, I haven't seen a doctor in over a year, but I'm healthy. How many unhealthy people have not seen a doctor in over a year? Talk about free speech. Look, we have free speech. Americans have free speech. I don't believe that free speech is in danger. However, there is a however coming. However, here is my problem with the government is supposed to be defending people's free speech, and they are not. The US government is not defending people's free speech, and they're allowing the news media and social networks to police their own, to basically police their own free speech. And I do think you have free speech, but I wish the government actually enforced the First Amendment onto these, media and also the social networks. Now, there is that whole big argument, right? That bill in Congress, that bill that wants to hold social media accountable for what people say on the social media. And I think that part is actually a mistake. I don't want to hold these companies like YouTube and Facebook and Twitter. I don't want to hold the companies accountable for what people say on those websites. I want the government to punish these companies when they censor my free speech. But the government is not defending my free speech. The government wants these companies to continue to selectively enforce their policies, but they want them to enforce it in a way that the government likes. So right now and if that law passes, I'm afraid we have the worst of both worlds. And that's why I would rather have the current system. Then I'm not a big fan of that bill. Like a lot of people say, speech will be more free if that bill gets passed. But I feel that if the companies are held liable for what people say on those sites, they're going to censor more of what you will say on those sites, because they don't want to be held liable for your speech. Now, do I want these companies to be more transparent? like for example, there was a video on my YouTube channel, and I just got and it was one of those, it was like a jokey comical video. You know which one? It's Hitler reacting to some event. It was, if you Google, let me see if I can Google it. Hitler reacts to ASIC boost. Videos, I'll pull it up. And I may have to Google my own name. There was a few of those. Is this on my channel? Not on my channel. Anyway, it was one of those videos. And just yesterday, I got a message from YouTube saying that someone reported the video, and they determined that it should have an age restriction. I guess 18 years old to read text under a video. It was one of those, you know, comical videos. But they don't tell me what caused the age restriction. You know, when YouTube shuts down your channel, they don't tell you what it's for. When Twitter shuts down your Twitter, they don't tell you why they shut it down. Do I want these companies to inform the user why exactly they're being shut down? Yes, I do. And that is government legislation enforcing the First Amendment of free speech, forcing these companies to provide clear rules and regulation to their users. But at the same time, I don't want to hold these companies liable and accountable for that content, because then they're going to censor more. So no, free speech is not endangered, but it's just not being defended properly by the government that wrote an amendment on free speech. It's the same thing goes for Second Amendment as well. The Second Amendment says you have the right to bear arms in the US. And the government, most of the government, is doing everything possible to remove it instead of protecting people's rights to bear arms. I don't watch CNN. I haven't watched CNN in a decade. I can't hate something I don't watch. I've never mentioned CNN. I don't know why CNN is being talked about in the channel. Thank you for the donation, by the way. This is Build and Fly. When you give tutorial about setting up a lightning node, when I learn how to set up a lightning node, I'm sorry, guys, I don't know how to set one up. I have not done it. I've had a couple of Lightning wallets. I've made 5 transactions, maybe for 3 cents, maybe. I don't know. I don't know how to set one up. When I learn how to set one up, I'm happy to do a tutorial. We will, if I ever have the Understanding Bitcoin conference, we're going to have a whole day of teaching people how to do a Lightning node, because I need to learn it. I'm sorry. I wish I can help you, but thank you so much for your very generous super chat in euros. Carter was terrible. I guess someone is rewatching on a delay a little bit there. I want to agree with you, but I don't know that much about Carter. Way before my time. I don't remember studying much of Carter in school. But yes, from my understanding, Carter was a terrible president, and he was a very smart president. From my general interactions in the last 30 years, I believe Ronald Reagan was a very good president. But according to firsthand accounts of people that spent time in the Oval Office, he was not the smartest guy in the world. So yes, you don't have to be smart to be a good president. And just because you are smart doesn't mean you're going to make a good president. But it's a horrible combination when you have a non-smart president being a terrible president. That's just horrible. And I don't know if George W. Bush is or isn't smart, but he has a reputation of George W. Bush not being very smart. And I know he wasn't a good president because I was there. I was watching him. So President Hoover, I know a little more about President Hoover than I do about President Carter, even though Hoover was president through the Great Depression, or at the end of the Great Depression. So Hoover was only president for 4 years, just like Trump. And Hoover was there when the economy collapsed with the stock market. And it wasn't Hoover's fault. Just like the economy collapsing with COVID was not Trump's fault. In fact, I am amazed how well the stock market has recovered with the crash. I'm actually amazed that only 200 people claim to have died from COVID when they were expecting 2 million. And I don't believe 200 people even died from COVID. They died while having COVID. Doesn't mean they died from it. And so Hoover was in the same position as Trump. And Hoover was a very smart guy from what I've read in history. And there was nothing he can do. He did his best to manage the economy after the Great Depression. But FDR took over, and there goes your gold. See? Actually, there was a huge similarity here. I should do a little more research comparing the Trump 4 years to the Hoover 4 years, because I believe, I could be wrong. Hold on. Who was president after Hoover? Guys, I'm not an American. By the way, Hoover was also a geologist like me, I believe. All right, why is this so difficult to find? Who defeated President Hoover? There it is. Yep, FDR. I was right. So FDR defeated Hoover. So the Democrat FDR defeated the Republican Hoover. I believe Hoover was only president for 1 term, and FDR took over and was president for 3 terms or 4 terms or 8. I don't remember. I know it was more than 2. And then that's all she wrote for your gold standard and for many other things that were good. So yeah, this is what happens when you get rid of a president who happens to deal with an unprecedented event in American history to no fault of his own. Look, I'm not going to give Trump the credit of peace in the Middle East. Let's not get ahead of ourselves here, okay? Like, I honestly don't think Trump did anything that revolutionary in the Middle East, all right? But the best thing that Trump did, he didn't do anything stupid. He didn't get America into a war. He didn't fuck up in any way, shape, or form. What are my top 3 TV shows? Oh boy, all time or recently? I mean, I really enjoyed Game of Thrones until season 8 or 9, whichever the last season was. Whichever the last season was, it was terrible. But Game of Thrones, like up to the last season and a half, was really good. Big fan of Billions. Look, I'm not ready to give Trump credit for the Middle East. Okay, let's see some peace there for more than a few years. All right. Maybe in 10 years we can give Trump a medal, but I'm gonna hold my horses there. Yeah, Billions is great. Billions is great. I think Silicon Valley is a fun show. I'm not a big fan of cop shows. There's really only two that I've watched. I like them both, but that was it. It was The Shield and The Wire. Those are like the only two cop shows I enjoyed watching. Many people can help me set up a lightning node. Oh, you know what was one of my favorite shows was? Rome. I think Rome is up there with Game of Thrones for HBO's best show. Rome was an excellent show. Do I expect this to be the 2020 top? That's a really good question. I'm not ready to answer that at this time. It doesn't feel like it. It really doesn't. We're still pretty bullish from a fundamental perspective. Let's hold that question for one more week. If I think we had the 2020 top right here with the MRI on the 4 hour. No, I saw a few episodes of Deadwood. Never really, never intrigued me at all. Sorry. Try Yellowstone TV show. I probably should. I wonder what it's about. By the way, Yellowstone is probably the most dangerous. So Yellowstone is the biggest volcano we have on Earth. Yellowstone is a volcano the size of Connecticut, the state of Connecticut. That's how big this volcano is. If Yellowstone blows up like it has 3 times in our, I think, the last few million years, and Yellowstone is kind of due, but by kind of due, it means in the next 10,000 years, starting a few hundred years ago. So we may or may not have plenty of time. But if Yellowstone blows up the way it has in the past, yeah, there'll be no more Americans, only the ones living abroad. There's a chance a few people in Georgia or something may survive. Probably not Florida, because Florida has very low sea level in general, and it's kind of like a swamp. So if Yellowstone, I don't want to scare anyone, but if Yellowstone volcano blows, the only Americans that have a chance of surviving are probably the ones living in like southern Georgia, North Florida, because they're just happen to be furthest away. I guess Alaska is furthest away. Hawaii is furthest away. So I'm not sure what Hawaii is going to do for food, but we'll see. But yeah, so Yellowstone is the one volcano you don't want to see erupt. I mean, that one has the potential to end all life on Earth. Depends how bad the eruption is. That's an extinction. That's an extinction level event. The Yellowstone volcano. It's 2020. It's not over yet. So who the fuck knows? Can still happen this year. The show Startup. Yeah, about Gemcoin and like cryptocurrency. Yeah. I saw the show. I actually liked it. It's like such a B show. It's such a like low budget, terrible acting, but I've seen the show. Yeah. No, full Yellowstone eruption is most likely a global extinction level event. I agree. I have not seen the show, by the way, at all. Like I heard the show existed. I have no idea what it's about. I don't even know if it's actually about Yellowstone. But I just know about Yellowstone. I've been there. I studied it. Why am I swearing so much? Chernobyl was great. Potentially the end of democracy in the U.S. COVID. Like I don't swear often, but if there was ever a time to swear, probably a good time right now. A good zombie movie. Oh boy. I don't have a good zombie movie. I've never been a fan of any zombie movie. They all seem kind of silly. Maybe the first two Resident Evils I kind of enjoyed. And that's about it. Twin Peaks, never heard of it. Ozark, it's okay. It's not in my top 10, not even close. No, I've seen 28 Days. I've seen them both. I've seen World War Z. I watch a lot of movies on planes. I don't like to work on planes. When I'm on a plane, I watch shows, I watch movies. I can go to, like if I fly, have a 14-hour flight, I might watch 4 or 5 movies. Especially if I'm adjusting to the time zone. Like I said, World War Z, was okay. Dawn of the Dead, You know, I started watching The Sopranos somewhat recently. I made it into season 2 and then I stopped. It was moving too slow for me. Never heard of Twin Peaks. Black Mirror, you know, I wish they were more selective in their episodes. So every season of Black Mirror has 1 great episode and 2 silly ones. So, yeah, there are incredible episodes of Black Mirror. Absolutely incredible. But there are also completely stupid episodes of the Black Mirror. So it's a true hit or miss. True hit or miss. Each season had 1 incredible episode. And of course, different people like different ones. X-Files, saw a bunch when I was a kid. It was okay. The Boys is actually pretty cool. For someone that doesn't watch TV, I happen to know my shows, apparently. Person of Interest, I think I've seen 2 episodes. Didn't care for it. Sherlock Holmes, the films were good. Never cared about the shows. Oh yeah, no, I completely lost faith in the U.S. election system. Look, I never had faith in U.S. elections, but at least I felt that they were fairly honest. But not anymore. Never heard of 1408. Oh, Breaking Bad. Yeah, that was a great show. Season 1 was kind of slow, and I almost stopped watching it, but I'm glad I didn't. Breaking Bad was a very good show. Russia's not going to attack the U.S. They're just going to watch the U.S. fall apart on their own. You know, Mexico does look better and better. Good job, Ugly. You know, living out there for a while now. I know. I think The Boys is a pretty cool show. I mean, it's not in the top 10 of anything. Like, it's not that great. Better Call Saul. Started watching it after Breaking Bad. I may have made it into season 2. Maybe. I doubt it. I think I stopped midway through season 1. Tone, where are you? I'm in my bunker. I don't know any Russian shows. My opinion on Putin. I don't have an opinion on Putin. Haven't been paying attention to Russian politics. American politics are keeping me pretty busy. Any thoughts on UK banning derivatives trading from the 6th of January? Not really. I really thought that the UK had more financial freedom than even US, but maybe I was wrong. At least the spam's over. 1408 is the craziest movie you can watch. What is it? I'm actually Googling it. Psychological horror film based on Stephen King's 1999 story. Yeah, maybe I should check it out. Not a huge fan of scary movies. Just not scared by them. Just not my preferred genre. Is Ugly in the chat? Is that real Ugly? You're watching Billions, Ugly? How do I want to make sure it's real Ugly? How do I do that? I used to be able to click on it and say go to user's channel. Hey, Ugly, you can actually join this stream. You have the link, but I think I'm going to end the stream, so I don't know if it's worth it. Let's just stop the screen share. I've never even heard of Twin Peaks. Is it a movie or is it a show? Twin Peaks. Looks like a show. American mystery drama television series created by somebody. Premiered 1990? It's kind of old, no? Only lasted till 1991. I don't usually go back that far to watch shows. If you guys go back to 10, 20 years to watch a show, Jericho is probably a good one. I mean, Rome was an old show, but Rome is about Rome. So it doesn't matter when you watch the show Rome. whether it's now or in 100 years, like it won't change because the show doesn't take place in a modern time period. I really liked Highlander when I was a kid. The show Highlander was probably one of my favorite shows as a kid. If anyone remembers Highlander. Applies to Bitcoin and crypto. There can be only one. Speaking of Highlander, that was the inspiration for, and now I finally stopped screen share. We're going back to screen share because my love of Highlander show as a kid was part of the influence of making this the theme of Understanding Bitcoin conference, where everyone is like a medieval warrior. So this was inspired by my favorite show as a kid, being Highlander. The movies were pretty good too, except part 2. Parts 1, 3, and 4 were good. Oh boy, Foster, you're putting me in a very difficult position with your question. It's a hard question to answer because I did not put myself in your position. I sold on Thursday because I wasn't greedy. I bet you also watch MacGyver and Miami Vice. Not Miami Vice. I've never seen a single episode of Miami Vice, but I have watched MacGyver. It was okay. It was pretty cool. I never watched Knight Rider, but when I was a kid, I was certainly watching Baywatch. And I'm sure everyone else my age did as well. No, never watched Quantum Leap. I think we're losing audience by the hundreds. Yeah. It's not like I have anything better to do on a Saturday, Sunday. It's a lockdown. It's not like I can go anywhere. Never got into A-Team. Never really watched it. I'm really starting to cut back on answering personal questions. It has always ended badly for my life. So let's keep personal stuff to a minimum. Vikings is okay. I'm not going to say it's great, but it's okay. Just an opinion. What was I doing? Oh, yeah. So if I had not gotten out, if I, let's say, got stuck on an airplane on Thursday and Friday, and I did not get out, man, The Last Kingdom is better than Vikings. I started watching The Last Kingdom, and I kind of stopped midway through season 2 or something. I binge watch, guys. I binge watch. It's not like the reason I've seen all these shows is because sometimes I say screw it, and I just sit down on a couch and I'll watch an entire season straight. Just take a break from the phone, turn off the phone, and watch an entire season of a show. So that's how I'm able to have seen a lot of these shows, and that's why it's often when I say I've seen I stopped halfway through season 1, I made it into season 2. Because I'll binge watch until something catches my attention to stop, and then the show isn't important enough to come back to the show. That's how I've, Westworld, same thing. I made it into season 2, and I don't think I'll be finishing that. So it's just binge watch shows, but they better be really good for me to actually continue watching. Power was good. So after The Shield came Sons of Anarchy, same writers. And then if you enjoyed Sons of Anarchy, I recommend a show called Power. It was in a similar fashion to Sons of Anarchy. I think it's a little bit better, but they're both good. All right, back to the chart. If I did not exit my Bitcoin position on Thursday or Friday, what would I be doing now? Well, if I did not exit my position on Thursday or Friday, I would have exited my position somewhere over here on this giant crash out of the triangle. If I manage to also sleep through the big crash, and I'm still holding Bitcoin, I would not be selling right now. The reason I would not be selling right now is because if I go to the hourly chart, which I have not done yet, it actually looks fairly bullish. Very curious if there is an MRI bottom somewhere here. Would be awesome if there is. And there kind of is. Not where I wanted it, but it's there. I am kind of bullish right now on the hourly scale. So if I had not exited my bullish positions, I would exit back in this area between 15.3 and 15.5 if we make it back to this area and then start to falter. Otherwise, I would exit if we fall below this area. Now, when I say fall below this area, it is up to you whether it's on a 1 hour closing basis or any print below that zone. That is up to you and your risk tolerance. Because if this was your situation right here, and you said, if this asset, let me do this. If you're sitting here, right here, and you don't know what the next candle is, you don't know what the next candle is. The hour ended, and you're like, God damn it, I'm in this horrible losing position, but if the market goes below this line, I am out. But does that mean close the hour below the line or trade below the line? You're out. Because if your view is, if we close the next hour below that line, I am out, I can tell you exactly what would happen. What would happen is you would panic right here at the very last point. And you would sell your position, and you would then be very, very frustrated. So it's really up to you and your risk tolerance. Had you sold here, you're probably still unhappy, but not as unhappy. So when I put my line here and I say I would get out below this line if it does not make it. So look, if we keep going up, I will keep holding my bullish position. And it looks like we're going up right now. I'm going to let it go up above 5,200. And if above 5,200, it looks like we're reversing back to the downside, that's where I would exit. If we don't make it to 5,200 and we reverse anywhere below 5,200, I would wait until we hit this line to get out. Whether we just touch this line or close below that line, I don't know. But this line is a barrier for me on the way down. My other exit is in the vicinity of the bottom of the triangle if it's a rejection. But if it looks like we're going straight up, I'll just keep holding and consider myself lucky that I screwed up by not exiting here or here or here or here. And now at this point, I would just wait a little bit more because I've already screwed up 5 times not exiting. 15,200, not 5,200. You guys know what I mean. It's been a long day. I liked Fresh Prince of Bel-Air when I was a kid. Did the Arun give an exit on the daily? I doubt it. It's probably still bullish. We can take a look. No, like I said, I doubt it. No, the Arun would give you an exit when you get a new multi-week low. And we have not had a multi-week low. We're not even close. I use a 25 period for the Arun. And the Arun is an incredibly simple indicator. The Arun is an incredibly simple indicator. And the Arun needs new multi-week highs and lows in order to really move. And we're not even close to a multi-week low. Walking Dead was good. It was really good until, you know, they drag out these stories. You know, just kill the governor the first time. When the governor came back, that was stupid. I never finished. So here's where I stopped watching it. I stopped watching it, then I came back to it, and then I stopped watching it, and I came back to it. And the last time I stopped watching it was towards the end of the battle against, what's that next guy that after the governor? Shit. Deegan. I think it was Deegan. And they just dragged out for so long. I mean, you got to end these things within a season or two. But the battle against Deegan was just, it was never ending. And I think I came to like 1 or 2 episodes until that battle finally ended. But I never saw the ending of it. So that's where I kind of stopped. There's 3 Walking Deads now. Oh, God. I only know of the original. The last season of Game of Thrones was a disaster. When buyback, if it goes up or down, I don't know. I don't have a buyback plan yet. My most immediate target for potential buyback is around this area of 13.9. But if we never make it to 13.9, I would be buying 15.6. So I'm either buying at 13.9 or at 15.6. But that's right now. I may come up with another buying target at some point in the future. But based on the available information as of this time print, my buying mentally is set at 13.9 and 15.6. Negan, not Deegan. Okay, Negan. Thank you. So Negan is still alive? Like, I don't even know. Like I said, I made it towards what felt like the eventual conclusion of the war between Rick and Negan. But I don't know how it ended. I never watched Lost. I saw the first few episodes of Lost. I found the going through the backstories of these people's lives was a little too boring for my taste. Curb Your Enthusiasm is a great show. I've seen the first few seasons, and that's probably one of the shows I wish I kept watching. Nobody stopped me, but like Curb Your Enthusiasm was great. I was a big fan of Seinfeld back in the day too. Do you think we would ever see a Bitcoin election ran on top of the Bitcoin blockchain? Look, I think that you can run a better election with the Google Doc Excel spreadsheet. I'm not joking. I am absolutely not joking. I was going to write up an article on how to run a fair election using an Excel spreadsheet. And you probably do a better job than what happened here. It's actually not, it shouldn't be that difficult. All you got to do is call Google and they'll get it done for you in probably a week. Where I forget, I'm actually going to Google this. How many rows are in an Excel worksheet? There are 1 million rows in an Excel worksheet. Okay. I was hoping it was more, but since half of America doesn't vote, we only have at maximum 150 million voters. How many people voted in this election? Let me see, including the dead people. How many living and deceased voters in 2020 election? Because we got to have enough space for their Excel spreadsheets, right? So, all right. So they're actually only telling me how many dead people voted in the election. They're not telling me the combined total of both dead and living. So here, how many living and deceased voters in the 2020 election? But they're only giving me the information on how many dead people voted. So I may have to refine my search. How many voted in the 2020 election? $161 million. Okay. So I'm assuming that includes both living and deceased that voted. So we need 160 million entries in an Excel spreadsheet. So can an Excel spreadsheet do that? So okay, Excel specification limits, perfect. Let's see. You can totally do this with. I want to see if you can do this with a single Excel workbook. Okay, so we have over 1 million rows and 16,000 columns. Ooh, that's interesting. So what is if I multiply those, right? So that's 16. I'm literally going to get these. And remember, there's also multiple worksheets inside a workbook. So one number times another number. So that gives us, crap, there's no commas. Shit. Okay. Okay. Oh, that's plenty. Oh, we got plenty. Okay, easy. Easy. So you probably, this will just be for president. There'll be like another Excel worksheet for, oh yeah, that's plenty of space. So that's more than enough cells. And so here's how it is very easily done without a blockchain with the Google spreadsheet. Okay, it was the real ugly in the chat. All right, cool. Let me, crap, he's not here anymore, and I can't scroll that far ahead. I wanted to make him a moderator. Anyway, let me not get distracted here. So I don't actually want to open. I don't want to go to my Google account, so I can't actually show you. But maybe they have an example of an Excel spreadsheet. Anyway, it doesn't matter. You have plenty of cells in an Excel spreadsheet. And all you got to do is when a person goes to a voting, like a polling station to vote, they have to present an identification that they are voting in the right jurisdiction of where they actually live. So number one, identify people that they belong voting where they're supposed to be voting. That's part one. Then you register them for voting. You give them like a digital card. They stick a digital card into a machine, and based on a timestamp of when they stick the card in, they are told which Excel cell in the Excel spreadsheet is theirs. Okay, you, sir, are column G, row 48,576. So that person knows which cell is theirs. They can write it down. They can try to memorize it. We'll get to that later. So they know which cell is theirs. And no one else can see what you're voting. And once you vote, obviously you can't you'll be able to do a write-in, whatever. You're not actually writing in the Excel document. You are using a proper machine for voting, and that machine then places your vote into a publicly viewable Excel spreadsheet. And once it goes into the spreadsheet is immutable, not being edited by anyone. And if a Google employee is to alter it, that employee will face insane consequences. Not to mention, since this worksheet is publicly available, anyone around the world can just take screenshots or store it in their own database or wherever they like. They don't need nodes syncing, okay? Anyone can audit this spreadsheet. The spreadsheet itself, both parties, Democrats, Republicans, independents, libertarians, whoever, they all can have their own auditing software that is watching this spreadsheet, in that the moment something gets entered into the spreadsheet, because the person at the polling booth said, I am entering, done, I voted, I will put them in the spreadsheet. They go in, and then millions of people can make sure nothing in that spreadsheet changes. And now anyone can add up the damn votes, and everyone can see the spreadsheet, and no one can edit it. It's an uneditable spreadsheet. Yes, can the CEO of Google edit the spreadsheet? Maybe not the CEO. Can the CTO of Google edit the spreadsheet? Yes, he can. But he would face ridiculous penalties, including the loss of his company. They are given the responsibilities. They have one job. The people at Google have one job. Do not allow anyone to alter the spreadsheet. That is their job. I think they can do that job. That's not a very difficult job. not to alter that spreadsheet. I think it's doable. Okay. Everyone can see it. You know which vote is yours if you wrote it down or memorized it, which cell is yours, but no one else does. No one else knows which cell is yours. Oh, this is way better than using Cardano. Way more secure too. So, and that's it. And you're done. I mean, obviously there's going to be a little more intricacies here. You have to make sure that your vote was recorded properly in this publicly viewable spreadsheet. You verify that it's there, and that's it. You don't need mining for this. You really don't. I think it's time to call it a day, guys. Google Sheets, not Excel. Well, yeah, it's the same thing to me. Like spreadsheet. We're talking about spreadsheet. Google spreadsheet, Excel spreadsheet. It's a spreadsheet. Well, right, but no one knows which cell was yours. Your name isn't assigned to the cell. You know which cell was yours, but you don't have to tell anyone. Right, your vote has to be anonymous. No one should know who you voted for. One last look at the chart. Nothing really. I'm still bullish here. As you can see, we have a third consecutive top, but clearly a higher low, which is higher than this low, which is higher than that low. Notice the buying opportunity on a 10-minute chart. I didn't see that earlier. I didn't pull up this chart earlier. And Google Sheets and Excel have different limits. I'm sure if Google was going to do this for an election, they would make whatever limits they like for this one particular Google Doc. So I'm more bullish here than bearish on a 10-minute chart. I like the second higher low and third consecutive even high. So if we break out above 49, I don't know, 49.25, I'll be pretty bullish. Thinking that 52, 50, 15.2, 15.3 is possible. Guys, I've been here for like 3 hours. How long has this been going on? How are you still with me? We're down to 400 viewers, losing everyone. I've been here, how long have I been streaming? Almost 3 hours. I think that's enough. I think Biden is still president since I started the stream, according to the news media. We'll see if that lasts. It might last. It will probably last. Trump 2024. Hope he makes it. Hope he doesn't catch COVID again. If you were on TI and you switched to the MRI, the video was in the same educational video folder that you had access to when you were watching the TI videos, the MRI videos there. All right, guys. Thank you all for watching. And I'm going to stop the screen share. My neck's killing me. I will talk to you all on the next one.